All right, going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live. Welcome everyone to Breaking Bread with Corey. Thank you so much for joining me. This is two of two great episodes with two very special lady ambassadors of our industry. I'll take a sip of my water real quick. And what an amazing show that we've had. And we have another amazing ambassador joining us. I'm actually going to set this up before we get started. Again, thank you everyone for showing your support for Breaking Bread. I really appreciate all the great feedback and the support that you've given me just these last few months. And I'm so blessed on bringing these amazing ambassadors and sharing the screen with them. Let me see. I'm just fixing this right now. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Let me see. Just gonna bring on. Whew. What? Go. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hope everybody's doing okay. Here we go. And how do I fix that? There we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Fixing the screen. Again, thank you for your support. We have a great show. And before we get things started, I just want to let you know I've actually started drinking this on the last show. I am celebrating Chrishon Lampley's 11 Corkscrew Wines. Good times with good friends. That's what Breaking Bread with Corey is about. It's about sitting around, telling stories, sharing our love and what we do in the industry. I can't say it enough. Absolutely beautiful wine. I'm having her Pinot Grigio, and I'm actually pairing it with Trader Joe's key lime cookies. Absolutely delicious. Who says we have to have steak, chicken, or fish with our wines? That combination is absolutely decadent and just lovely, and this wine complements it so well. It's a great marriage of the two, and I can't wait to be sharing this screen with this special lady. She's an amazing ambassador to the industry and provides some amazing wines to the consumer, to the wine drinker out there. And I'm going to go ahead and bring her on. Hello. See how we go. Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going amazing. How are you, sir?
Good. I'm just trying to fix my camera. Hopefully it won't fall down. How's your day been out there?
It has been insanity. I have not had time to think today, but I think that's always a good thing, right? Literally
Absolutely,
one interview to another today.
Absolutely. I say when you're busy, it keeps you out of trouble, right? That's the most important thing.
Boy. Yes, but true. Very true.
And it gives me some time. I always say when I share the screen with you ambassadors, it gives me the time to kind of step away from my parental duties. My wife takes over when she gets home, and she takes my son out for a walk, and so it's like my little papa time with my glass. And by the way, this Pinot Grigio is decadent. I don't know if you saw what I was pairing it with.
Yes,
but a
I
very
did. The
simple
cookies.
lime cookie, absolutely delicious. But yeah, this wine is drinking so well. I've just left it open and untouched. I took it out of the fridge when I first started the first interview, and it is absolutely delicious.
Thank
So
you.
very
Thank you.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wine.
Oh, thank
So
you.
without further ado, let's kick it off. Let's introduce the viewers to who you are.
Yes, yes. Hello, everyone out there. If for any reason I have technical difficulties, believe you me, I'll come back in. I have so many people coming in and out we had photo shoots and things today, so I will apologize in advance and I'll come back in if there's any issues. But hello, I am
Okay.
Chrishon Lampley. I'm the owner of Love Corkscrew. I launched Love Corkscrew about 8.5 years ago, over 500,000 bottles sold. I'm sold in Walmart, Target, Mariano's, you name it, Whole Foods, Myers, Total Wines, and more. But it's been an amazing journey. I have so much more to do. But Love Corkscrew has been an amazing success thus far. Hard work, but amazing success.
What got you? What was the focus of getting this wine label started? What was the whole goal?
The goal was definitely having non-intimidating wine, right? I always say enjoy it, drink
Right.
it, don't overthink it. I knew
Right.
that in working in the industry for so many years, I've been in the industry 25 years, and being around for so long, I knew what was missing. I knew that not everyone cares about a wine that's 96 points, that's $200 a bottle. I knew that there was a great side of the market, this $130 billion industry. You kidding me? I knew there were
Right.
so many people in the market who were intimidated by wine, but just wanted to enjoy it and try it, and were like, take my money, but I don't know what I want to buy. So my
Right.
my whole thought process was, you may not be able to pronounce Bordeaux and Chianti and Chenin Blanc, but you're going to remember head over heels. You're going to remember good times, good friends, and that was my reasoning of doing it. And 500,000 bottles sold later.
That's absolutely beautiful. I love that whole purpose, and I love how you said it during your bio. You're paying homage to the elements of classic, and that's what I sense just in your Pinot Grigio. It's just classic all the way through and through. I love it, and the simplicity and how approachable it is. You talk about having approachable wines. When you have approachable wines, you talk about versatility and what you can do with it. And pairing it with that cookie is just, it was a beautiful combination. Tell me how many other varietals you have. Did we lose you? Are we did we Uh-oh. I think we might have. Did we lose you? Are we having some? Let's see. Yeah. Sorry about that, everyone. We had Chrishon was saying that before we got started that we might have some technical difficulties. She'll just reset herself and bring us back on. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm sharing the screen with the lovely Chrishon Lampley from Love Corkscrew, and her wines are decadent. I'm actually drinking her Pinot Grigio right now. Good times with good friends. That's what we do at Breaking Bread, and I'm pairing it with Trader Joe's key lime cookie. Let me see if I could track her. There she is. Perfect. See if we can bring her back on. You gotta love technology, right?
I'm back. I'm back. 1 second. I'm just gonna put them back in my ears back in. I'm back,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
I'm so sorry. I knew
No
that would
worries.
happen. Let me just make sure my ears are working. 1 second, guys.
All right. I don't know if there we
I'm
go.
here.
There we
I'm
go.
here.
There you
Sorry,
go.
guys. Sorry. I'll be super transparent. Hello, everyone. I'll be super transparent. That was UPS that I had to buzz in because we had so many people buying for wine clubs. They had to pick up, so I had to buzz them in, guys. So I'm so sorry. I'm here.
It is absolutely fine. Do what you got to do. Let me make sure my audio is good. Can you hear me nice and clear?
Oh yeah. Hi
All right,
guys, I'm
perfect.
back. I'm back. I'm back.
All right. And thank you all for joining us. And like I was saying, as far as that reset question, how many varietals do you actually offer?
Seven.
Okay.
So I started off with seven 10 years ago. I created seven, one of which has changed. I had a Vino Blanco, a Prosecco. Let me start all over. I had a Prosecco that's now a Vino Blanco years ago. So I always had a number of varietals, and my reasoning was I wanted to hit it in as many ways as I could. And what do I mean by that? There's thousands of varietals out there. Thousands.
Mhm.
There's only so many I can do as a private label and a custom
Right.
crush. But at the same time, I knew I had the knack to hit flavor profiles exactly where they needed to be for the masses to enjoy. And I knew there were top varietals that I wanted to do with no question. And that was Riesling Pinot. There was just no, and Cabernet Sauvignon. There was like
Mhm.
no question. But where I was like, okay, let me take my time and figure out where the sweeter blends. Because I'm just not one to really want to just do it just because it's hot, meaning Moscatos and
Right.
things like that, right? So I took my time in sourcing the Niagara and Concord, and like I said years ago, the Prosecco, which was my sparkling dry white. But it took time, and years later, it paid off.
That's that's awesome. And where are all these particular grapes? Are they grown in a certain region?
Yes, so majority of mine are Michigan. I
Okay.
source Michigan, Lake Michigan, Lake Shore. So I really like to support the side of the industry and the growers that people just don't know about.
Very
A
nice.
lot of people don't get Michigan, don't get how amazing Michigan wines are. So I had to hit that knack, and I wanted to do it differently, right? I didn't want to
Right.
do just the boxed ice wines that people assume are
Right.
coming from the Midwest. So that's why I definitely got my Riesling and Pinot out of Michigan. But in addition to that, I knew my cab had to be California. Like there was just no question. It just would not have made any sense to ship grapes in from Cali and produce the bottles here in Michigan. So I decided to just source straight out of California. So Michigan and California. But soon I'm going to be going from into actually different countries. So we'll see.
Very
Fingers
cool.
crossed. I'll be doing a little bit out of Italy.
Very nice. Any particular area of Italy?
I'm not going to reveal yet. I'm not going to reveal because somebody could be watching and listening. And it's
Yeah.
one of those things where you have some great options, but I don't want
Right.
to tell who's the winner yet. But we'll see.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Now, what, like, when you talk about classic, was there, and I know you talk about making wines that are very approachable. Was there a wine that you tried in the past or a particular region that you tried in the past that you just said, that's how I want to kind of not necessarily mirror it but kind of take after?
Yeah, there were some grapes and some wine out of Washington that I wanted to emulate for sure. I wanted like a Pinot that was a little more aromatic than most. Like there's certain qualities that I want to focus on that I knew I felt in working in the industry. Because mind you, I worked in sales and distribution, so I would taste thousands of wines with different clients, and
Right.
there was always something that was missing in each varietal that they're like, I wish I had a, that did this. I wish I had a that did that. So I really took those notes from all these years of working, and I just said, okay, I'm going to have a semi-sweet Riesling
Right.
that, or I'm going to have a more pungent, like I'm going to have a lighter cab because people say they like cab, but not really, right? So I knew the
Right.
flavor profile, but at the same time, I wanted to support local. So I pretty much went to these vineyards and said, hey, if you can do this and we can make this work, great. If you cannot, I got to get it from someplace else. But this is
Right.
the
Right.
flavor profile I am going for, and this is what I want. And that's why it took 2.5 years to even make the 7 that I did.
That's great. I love the focus, the focus on where you wanted it to hit. And I always think Washington is really the dark horse of us domestically, just here on the West Coast. It tends to get overlooked a lot. We know Washington from St. Michel, but we don't know everything else that is coming out of there. And we hear California, we hear Oregon, and then you hear glimpses of Washington here and there, but it's
Right.
just really still untapped. And you said that you have basically said what I always said about Washington is Washington offers something that is, it's simplistic, but it actually offers the complexity of what you get from your traditional like French varietals. It has that combination of the new world and the old world, where it's grown, where it's made, and just the mentality of the vintners that are producing these wines are just unreal. And the great thing about it, it's like Chilean wines, where you can get great Washington wines for really the price is not, it's not been hampered yet. It hasn't been overly spoiled yet, and that's the thing that's really nice for the consumer. And I wish more consumers drank Washington wines because they're so beautiful.
They're absolutely amazing, but I think
Yeah.
I always take it back. Me being a little old school, I always take it back to people watching the movie Sideways and then
Yeah.
not thinking about anything else but California after that. Or
Yeah.
if it's from another country, then it must be amazing. But outside of that,
Right.
they don't want to hear it. You know, anything
Yeah.
that's east of California is a wrap.
Yeah.
So I say, and I'll throw this out there, that I believe that the old school thought process of wines are changing. I
Mhm.
do believe that we are now in a different generation that is open to exposing and trying new things, and the in thing is really something different, right? You don't always
Yeah.
have to go just with the California. I think they're wanting to experiment with a little bit of everything, and technology has showed with social media showing all these new things, right? People didn't even know there was 50 wineries in Illinois. Like
Right.
there's so much more exposure now, and the ability to tell people what else is out there besides California.
Right.
That now they're listening. So I think it's coming, is my point. I think there's creative ways in marketing that's happening. And I think other regions will get their, their flowers. I really do.
Yeah, and I think that's what the positivity of having like the wine clubs when they offer the variations from different regions. They're
Yes.
hitting marks from places like, they could be offering places like Michigan, like Texas, like other areas that are not necessarily known. Because I've been, I have dealt with the consumer on the floor where they only want to drink. If you're in California, they're only going to drink Napa. Or California wine. If you're in Oregon, they're going to be supporting. And it's like, I think that one thing that we could do in the retail aspect, because retail controls a lot of it. And
Yes.
I know the buyers and everybody else does, but I think retail of how we present it has to offer more variety, more
Agreed.
diversity. It's just because when you're trying to drag somebody out of that particular region, it is like they're kicking and screaming, and you're going, wait, they're, do you know, like, even like when I talk about Oregon, I say, I've talked to a lot of consumers. I'm like, do you know Oregon is pretty similar to Burgundy, where Pinot Noir comes from, and a lot of French vintners actually came over to Oregon to actually help, and they're like, I don't know, and I'm like, you got to be open to try it.
Got to be open.
Move about, because, and I think the wine clubs have really opened that up, and even the wines for yourself, the wines that you have to offer is opening up more opportunity for growth with the consumer, to open up their palate, open up their minds, and not, this is not coming from California. This is coming from Michigan. This is a great bottle. So
Right,
that's
like
awesome.
whoa,
I love it.
and
Yeah.
they're surprised. And you're absolutely right. I mean, you hit it. It's the exposure with wine clubs, different business models that are working. The Cooper Hawks of the world, right? There's so many other sources of amazing grapes and wines from around the entire country that just need to be known. And once known, they're like, wait a minute. Or for some people who have California everything and say, I don't like wine, but then they try something from another region, like, wait, I guess I really do like wine now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be just from this one area. If you just because you don't like this region's Pinot doesn't mean you don't like Pinot. So there's I think there's so many more opportunities now, and there's so many retailers, especially, that are now opening up this world, especially in diversity, to
Right.
really try and taste some great wines. There's so many
Well,
great wines.
and that's awesome to hear how many retailers are actually carrying your wine. That's the thing. That's what I love hearing. I love that giving you opportunity to have a voice on the shelf, and that's vital. Knowing that we have this out there is important for growth in this industry right now. Right now is there's so much creativity that I see from all the ambassadors that I share the screen with, including yourself, and it's like, man, this is amazing. How much is out there, and so many people are not really taking it in, like the appreciation of it all. And there's some amazing things. And like I said, your Pinot Grigio, it's just, I love it. I consider it a Goldilocks. It is just right. It's got nice balance, nice acidity, everything that it has that you're looking for in a great Pinot. It's just nice. I love the color. This is sitting on your patio, like what I'm doing, sitting on my veranda having my key lime cookies.
Like, you have no idea. I don't think I was on yet, but when you showed the key lime cookies, like I had this huge smile on my face, because that's what I want it to be. I don't want it to be like, oh my gosh, it just has to be with Dover sole and you have to be in this. No, on your patio with a great, delicious Trader Joe cookie. Are you kidding me? That is awesome. And that's what I want it to be. Enjoy. My goodness, we don't have to always overthink something. You like what you like. One of the best lessons to me ever was there'll be 99 sommeliers with 100 different answers. We like what we like. It's meant to be enjoyed. Enjoy it, and you don't have to be intimidated by it.
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing that people tend to even get, is that intimidation factor. That is always the secondary thing about choosing their wine. I hear it so much when people are picking out a wine. They're like, I don't know if I could take this bottle of wine because it's this price point. I'm like, who cares? If you're sitting with your friends and you bring a bottle of wine, they're not going to look at the label. If they do, then who cares? because it's really about, wine is about being around and just like I said, breaking bread with your friends, and not even worried about price, or it's just, hey, if it works, it works.
If it works, it works. If it doesn't,
and that is the thing. But it's so tough sometimes. But I love what you have to offer. Now, when you got into wine, what like, if you talk about your roots, what was the root that was like? Was there a time and a place where you had the glass of wine and you're just like, okay, I love this. I got to step into this somewhere, somehow.
Two things. It was definitely having, so straight out of college, I was not really into the apple martinis and the Cosmos of the world. My girlfriend and I would love going to restaurants and tasting different great bites. And the thing that was just like the biggest turn on for me was Bin 36 here in Chicago had an amazing list of flights. So I said, you know what? For some reason, I think I'm going to like red wine. I mean, this is like straight 22 years old, right? And I'm like, let me try this flight. It was just like the floodgates opened. I'm like, what is this? And I love cheese. Like, this is what we're doing, right? Like, it was the most amazing thing ever. So I would say that was huge for me. Just really experimenting different flights when I was younger, and really getting into the tasting profiles of different wines. But number two was working in the distribution side. That really opened up my eyes to knowing how many varietals were out there, and on the business side, how many people were really fighting for shelf space. in the world.
Yeah.
So there was 2 lessons. I was like, wait, I didn't even know this many varietals existed. There's a Vino Verde, and what is this? And this is from Portugal, and this is from what?
Yeah.
So it was just
Yeah.
like it was like overload, sensory overload. But then for me, looking at the side of this is like, oh, this is pretty cutthroat. This is a,
Yeah.
this is a serious business.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was those 3 things that was just like, boom, I gotta have it. I gotta have it. Let's go.
That is, it's so funny when you talked about how cutthroat the distribution side is, and even just on the shelf with some of the reps when I was working as a steward for a particular retail market in California, and the days that I wouldn't be off, some of them would come in and shift bottles, shift shelf space, so they would have more shelf space.
Man.
And I would come back in, and I would and one of the other reps that had their bottles would be moved to the bottom or somewhere else, and they'd be like, "Hey Corey, what, did you move my bottles?" I'm like, "No, I haven't touched them." Well, this one, I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?"
Fighting. People are like ready to box.
Absolutely. And I think it's become more difficult too, because now the way retailers have the placement, they're all blending them together.
Yeah.
So, that is the thing. Instead of breaking it down by region, it's broken down either New World or Old World. Correct. And they're all blended in together.
Correct.
So it makes it even more competitive. But yeah, I totally hear you on the cutthroat. Do you have any, I know you were talking about particular varietals that you were looking at as far as accessibility to the consumer. Was there ones that you were like, when you're pre-planning, you're thinking like, man, I would love to do this, but I don't know if I could? Like, is there a certain grape varietal that you were just like, man, this is one I would just love to have, but I don't know if it's possible?
I'm going through that now.
Yeah.
There is, I would love to do a Chianti. That's always been my jam.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, I don't know, I've been around a long, but then again, I haven't, right? I'm old head, but then again, I'm not really. So it's hard to make that transition when you're in the midst of growth, especially in the distribution and the sales side of it, and being on these shelves, all of these moving parts. It's difficult sometimes to say, okay, then I'll just create another too. That it's very hard. And just because you've had success with certain varietals doesn't mean that you're going to have success with others. Just because you had some amazing grape growers behind you in one varietal doesn't mean that's going to work out with another.
Right.
So I would say, yeah, right now I'm going through that. Like, I don't know. It's one thing to be in love with something, but it's another thing to be smart about it and the business side. So I'm like, slow down, Chrishon, slow down. It's that wine producer side that's like, okay, like, I want it all. And then the other side. And then definitely the one that people ask me about, that I would say more wine novice ask me for, is a champagne. I'm like, well, I'm not going to Champagne to source a champagne. That's hard. For me, that's not plausible. Economically, it's not. So maybe one day.
Yeah, that would be cool. That'd be cool to have a Chianti, a little Sangio doing a thing. That'd be. I love Sangio, and I think Chianti is another one of those. A lot of times, it gets underlooked because people think it's the straw bottle. All Chiantis are like that, and it's like Chianti. Sangio itself is just it's a beautiful. And it's a very approachable varietal.
Oh, and people are so scared of it. Like, oh my God, I would love to.
Man, when I think of it, I think of one of the most romantic varietals that is out there.
Agreed.
If we talk about romance, everything that we talk about romance,
agreed.
That Sangio, it just has that to offer. It's a very beautiful, and it's very underrated, underappreciated varietal. In the industry. Now, speaking of growth, has it been difficult as far as, because you have so much out there with all the different retailers presenting your product, has the growth been a little, has it been tough being a woman and a woman of color?
Yes, every day. I wouldn't use any other word but hard and tough.
Yeah.
It's sometimes I would say that it's just heart wrenching. Like it's difficult because each and every day I'm having to prove myself. Each and every day I'm fighting for shelf space. There has been times where a boss, if you will, has said, okay, well, to be in my store, you have to move these hundreds of bottles a week. And I remember one time there was a distributor standing next to me when he heard him say that. And he's like, Chrishon, even my top seller doesn't move that many.
Right.
Even one of the biggest wine companies in the world is collecting dust on that bottom shelf after all these cases they took. So why in the world do I have to move hundreds of bottles a week, but you're one that you take in tons of cases in all the time, but you can't take in one case of mine?
Right.
So it is nonstop proving myself. It's a nonstop struggle. I'm not going to stop, but it's not easy. And it gets exhausting. It's almost like, I'll be very honest, it's almost like certain no's or certain questions, the answers just roll off my tongue because I'm so used to proving myself that I don't even have to think about my answer anymore. Because it's nonstop. Yes, I'm going to go see out. No, I don't make wine in my bathtub. Yes, I have a distributor. Yes, I'm licensed. Like, it's just like...
Did they really ask you if you're making wine in your bathtub? Really?
I swear to you, I was doing, I never forget, about 7 years ago, I was doing a tasting at an amazing partner of mine. And several people, more than once, said, okay, so if you don't own a vineyard, are you making it in your bathtub? Like, they said it very serious. And I almost chuckled like, oh, they must have been joking. And they're like, no, really, how do you, I'm like,
that is odd. That is unreal. Unreal. To even have the noggin to actually even ask that question to anybody.
In front of others, like it was a very serious question. And that's just one small fraction of some insane things that have been said to me or asked of me. But I let it roll off. I never take anything personal, number one. But I realized, I mean, above and beyond the wine industry, how much I have to prove myself. Just as an African-American woman, it's a thing. It's part of my life. It's part of my day-to-day. So then I'm going to, not think that an industry that completely doesn't look like me is not going to question? Of course.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I take it with a grain of salt, and I keep moving day to day. Day to day, I don't stop.
Well, I certainly love what you're doing, your passion and everything that you're bringing as an ambassador, as a product. Just tasting your wine, tasting your Pinot Grigio is absolutely delicious. And it has heart and soul. Like you said, you really concentrate on making it for the wine drinker and making it approachable and fun.
Yes.
And for those who just joined us, again, and my mom told me to say this too. I always start talking and then I forget. You know what? Maybe I should just reintroduce our guest again, because a lot of times people jump in and out. But again, it's an amazing pleasure to be sharing the screen with Chrishon Lampley from Here's Her Wine, Love Corkscrew. Absolutely. I'm having her Pinot Grigio right now. I've been sharing it through 2 interviews. It's opening up. And if you talk about a wine that opens up like a flower, I describe wines like a flower. When air hits it, I actually used to be a flower section leader for Trader Joe's throughout my Trader Joe's career. And when I discovered flowers, I actually put the 2 together with flowers and wine. When air hits the flower, all those aromas start to open up. It's just like the buds opening up.
I love it.
It's the exact same thing to this wine. It's just all the aromas and all the flavors as you drink it, as you sip on it. It becomes more romantic, more fun throughout your time with it, and it's just amazing wine. And I'm so honored to be sharing the screen with you. So I know we were talking about the growth and the opportunity, especially for you. Do you see it as there's going to be more possibilities for women and women of color in the industry? Do you see more things happening in different communities around you, surrounded by you?
Yes, it's happening now. It's one of those things where and I think, some people become uncomfortable with this conversation, but it really happened because of George Floyd. Right after that happened, and we're going through it again right now, it was a lot of eyes that opened up, a lot of allies of people that were looking for Black businesses to support after all the looting and all the social unrest. There was so many things of like, let's look up, wait, are there actually Black women wine? So people that were reaching out to me, whether it be articles, whether it be buying online, my online sales went up 272%. So whether it was they were wanting to support out of guilt or wanting to support because they're like, I didn't know. I was welcoming every bit of it. So then it turned to where I knew, as a businesswoman, I knew some of those people are going to drop off. Some of it's going to be a one-hit wonder. They felt that they supported, okay.
Right.
But then some kept coming back because I said to myself, I said it to my team, I said, I have a great product. So it's not going to stop there. It's not like we'll support Love Corkscrew because she's a Black woman and we'll buy it one time and never again.
Right.
I had consistent sales. But then, to answer your question, it turned into corporate deliberate help. And we're talking directives that are 10 years down the road. Like, it's not going to stop. And that's what I really, really appreciated, saying, okay, you know what? We messed up. We're this old school industry of wine that we have to open our eyes to know that there's some amazing diversity out there. Amazing. And that's where I was like, thank you. Now let's do it. Not just African American women. There's hardly any women in this industry. So it was amazing to know and see that. I do believe it's going to be long-term change. I really do. I don't think this is just a fad. And I welcome that. And it may be where I might not even be around, to see all of the growth, but at least I know I was part of it. I was part of the beginning of some amazing, amazing diversity in this industry. Years from now, 20 years from now, or 40 years from now, when I'm gone, people are like, yeah, I remember that Love Corkscrew.
Yeah.
She was pretty cool. Hey, she was one of the ones that were, from the beginning here.
Yeah.
And that is an amazing feeling for me that I was part of the beginning.
No, that's great. And even for myself, being more on the retail aspect of the industry and not knowing, I felt at a point for myself, I felt very naive, and I was like, this is really sad that I didn't have this education, or I didn't have these resources in front of me until something like George Floyd happening. You know what I mean? Yep. And it shouldn't be like that. The resources should have been presented long ago, but now we're starting to get it. And for me, it's continuous rolling out my sleeves and putting in the work and the support and celebration, because if it's out there, why aren't we celebrating more of it? This should be something. And I think another key thing, to turn the car on, you need the key.
Yes, sir.
To turn the car on, you need the key. And I believe that, again, I know the distribution part, the reps and all that stuff, but retail holds a huge responsibility. What we see as a consumer holds a huge responsibility. What these distribution companies are offering. Why can't I get this even though they're smaller, why can't I get this? I should be able to, if you're a distributor, you should be able to go to them and go, hey, even if I could get one case from you, I should be able to get one case from you because this is something that we need to offer.
Yes,
and that should just be plain sight in their mission statement as a distribution company. No ands or buts. That's what we need, because if that would happen, more people like myself that are on the floor would have everything right there, and we could go, this is how we do it, and this is how we need to present it. And I honestly think we need to get rid of a lot of this divide in how we present it, and have more support, even notated in what the buyer is looking at. It's just one of those things that, to me right now, I constantly go back and forth. I'm happy because I know that this should have been happening a long time ago, and now it's happening. But it's frustrating because it's like I feel like, man, why didn't I know about this years ago?
And
why
the key,
didn't I know?
what you really touched on that affects me every day, and I see others in the industry getting affected by it, and that's the distribution piece. There are plenty of retailers. It's like two parts, right? There's plenty of retailers that want to support small batch, but they don't want to go through a small distributor. Or there are large distributors who think you are too small, so even though the retailer wants you, they will not pick you up. So this 3-tier system, as a small batch, you can get crushed, pun intended, either way. So until there's an opportunity that is respected to go straight from a supplier to national as an option,
right,
you could get screwed. I know plenty of spirits, plenty of wines that are unbelievable, who will not get that distribution deal, who just cannot. I know plenty. I know plenty of great small distributors that the national buyers for the large big box stores will not accept them because they're too small. Right. So it's like there's so much to this industry and so many moving parts that it's sad, because at the end of the day, who's getting affected? The consumer.
Right.
Who is not able to try your wines or your spirits? The consumer. Who doesn't get it? The consumer. And why would they know this, right? I can't tell you how many times I've had to tell a consumer, I'm sorry, I'm not distributed there, so that's why it's not in your local store. I'm sorry, I can't. I can ship it to you, but if you don't like receiving shipments and you really just want to walk into your Publix or whatever, I'm sorry, I'm not there. I have those conversations, and I am national. Imagine someone who's just getting started making an amazing small batch wine. Imagine that. So there's just so many things. Almost like that. The best analogy for me is there's so many great artists that had a mixtape back in the day. But if it wasn't heard, if that mixtape wasn't heard, they didn't make it, did they?
Right.
But then there's some who had money behind them, right? Who were terrible singers or terrible rappers, and they made millions.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things. Some of those diamonds in the rough never get out that roughage, and it's hard. It's hard.
What would you say, what would you recommend for people, even the consumer? What would you say, you recommend to them? Would you just say, keep on asking for it? Would you say doing something like that, going to if you're the consumer, the drinker yourself, and you're looking for it, ask the retailer themselves, hey, can we get this? How can we get this? Would that put more demand on it?
If it was 10 years ago, I would say yes. That's the number one thing I would do 10 years ago. Right now, you share it on your social media. You spread it. You share it nonstop. Yeah. I cannot stress. I'm a Generation Xer, so I'm kind of in between the boomer and the younger ones, right? But I know both sides of it. I know both ends of that. what I can tell you for sure is the power of the share button.
Right.
If we really had some of the people that are my age and older, I'm 46 years old, so me and older, if you guys would share, are you kidding me, to the group of people who have the money that would be able to purchase items like this. That share, right, mixed with these younger millennials and things that are just, that share button creates so much buzz. And who's watching? The national buyers are watching. The distributors are watching. They're all watching. That to me is the most important. It's the power of the share button. So I would say to consumers, please just talk about us. Talk about the wine, something that you end up liking. You'll be surprised what a story on Facebook or Instagram can do. So that's what I would say.
I love that. That's a way that, like I said, I've been trying to figure out what else could I do for my part, and what else could I pass along to the viewer to help do their part, because right now there's so much time for opportunity. We still have opportunity.
So much.
I can't say it enough, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, so how would I get, Chrishon's wines, more of her wines out there? How could I get, and I love, when we were talking about, not to hop around so much, but I love the fact that you were talking about the support. I see organizations. That's how I actually found more, through word of mouth and organizations, people that were just so helpful, offering the resources. Hey, look up this. You have the Roots, the Hue Society. You have all these great, Women
of the Vines.
Yeah, Women of the Vine. You have all these amazing organizations that, and I can't say it enough. I love joining a lot of these groups, and I'm one of the only males, if not the only male in these groups. And I'm just like, yes, I love you guys. I love you ladies. You guys are doing so awesome, because you are. I can't say it enough. Even being a Hispanic, male, Latino is, this is the time to really support the ladies. The ladies are trailblazing right now. You're breaking down barriers, fighting tooth and nail, and it is just awesome to see. But it's like, I think of not just my mom, my wife, my nieces, my sister, but I think of everybody in the future that is coming up and giving them opportunities.
Yes.
You ladies are doing it. And you're not just doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for everybody. The voices that you're bringing, it's special. It is special, and I love that. And I'm just trying to do whatever I can to support that, and it's a beautiful thing. It's just an amazing thing.
You doing this platforms like this is what does it. I always say, I don't care if it's 1-2 people that see this. Later, by next week, it's going to be 1,000 that saw this.
Yeah.
And you don't know if one person can change everything. You don't know.
Right.
So it's platforms like this that social media actually allow in just growth of small businesses like myself. So I thank you for this. In addition to that, I always say, I want to break every glass ceiling so there's no more to be broken. And that's why I'm here. And that's what I'm here to do for women. And to show that you can make an industry that doesn't look like you. But always know that doing something sometimes is almost doing enough.
Yeah.
By doing something.
Absolutely. We got to do something. If you have the power to do at least one thing, if you have the time to turn on your TV, you have the time to hit share. You know what I mean? It's just basically, it's just very simple things that you could do.
Let me tell you, I got to say one more thing. The reason why I had 2 billboards in Times Square was because the power of the share button. They saw me on social media and said, we want you on 42nd and 7th and 42nd and 9th. And I had the 2 biggest, best billboards you could possibly get in the city because of the power of a share button. So if that doesn't tell anybody out here how important that share is, I don't know what else to tell you.
We got to hit that share button. Everybody, we need to hit that share button. That's important. We got to continue to support and celebrate ambassadors like Chrishon. out there. They're doing their thing. And I always like to say this is that, for me, I just want to thank you before I forget, because I'm a dad, and a lot of times I get dad brain, but I appreciate the time that you got to, I got to share the screen with you, and share your story and your passion, and drink your fantastic wine. I'm just loving it. And I wish more people could get a hold of your wines and to taste them. They're beautiful. But I appreciate that, what you have. And I'm here in any way that I can support you and support all the other female ambassadors out there doing your thing. You're doing some amazing work. And what would you like to see? I have two more questions for you. What would you like to see the wine industry go as far as just the impact or the change that we could do, the impact of change that we could do, as far as even just the minority driven, the women of color? What would you like to see the industry go?
Definitely to open up our minds. I mean, I've been in so many different groups and conversations with executives, with the simple fact that the baby boomers are dying off, right? So we have
Mm-hmm.
to open up our minds to some of these younger generation and their thought process. One of which I've done already to my bottles. On the next go around, I'm adding the nutritional value on the back of it, because that was a piece that some of these the younger consumers wanted. So I think it's going to have to be an open mind. It's going to have to be not the thought process of the old school of you're not supposed to mix wine in a cocktail. Some people like wine cocktails now, right? So I think there just has to be this capacity mentally to say, let me open up this amazing new world of consumers that have plenty of money to spend, that will
Right.
spend it, that spend it differently.
Mm-hmm.
So with the diversity piece, it needs to not turn into a fad. It needs to be where all of us are considered equal. And when I say this, I'll take it a step further. I'm not even just talking about minority women. I'm talking about small batch, period.
Mm-hmm.
Small wines, smaller vineyards, smaller wineries. Give everyone an opportunity. I don't know
Right.
exactly what that looks like. I can't solve every problem. But what I can say is I've lived through this issue. And to finally have the chance to have the opportunity to be sold in Walmart and Total Wines and more, and Whole Foods, and all these great stores I'm entering, it's like about damn time. How about that? That's all I can
I love
say.
it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's just great. Great words. I love that. I love that ending too. That was beautiful. Well said. And my last question would be, just like I said, I started, when I got this project started, it happened throughout the beginning of Black History Month, and leading into International Women's Month, celebrating International Women's Day. But I always think, again, the heart and soul right now that I see that is really pumping the blood to this industry is the women that are really pushing right now. And it's a great thing, because you're opening doors for everybody. It's not just women in general, but you're opening doors for everybody. You're opening the floodgates. The floodgates are coming down. What would you like to say to those ladies, those ones that have the passion, that have their fire lit, that are beginning their journey, or in the middle of their journey, or right near the end, and they're at their crossroads, and they're like, what can I do? Where should I go? What advice would you like to give them right now?
My gosh, take advantage of this education that's being allotted. There's so many grants. I've been on so many panels and interviews and things, and the one thing I make sure I always say, no matter who I'm talking to, is please take advantage of these grants. I am the first to run from a bank loan. I dealt with SBA back in the 90s. I get it, with personal guarantees and things like that. But some of these loans are amazing. Some of these grants, these forgivable, take advantage. And when I say this, I'm not just talking about the PPP loan. I'm talking about you can do a WSET training for free with a grant Are you kidding me? That used to be, I had to fly to California and rent a place to stay to take a course and take the test. Now you can do it online.
Right.
You kidding me? So take advantage of these educational opportunities. Take advantage of grants, even if you're not in the wine industry. There's so many doors that are being opened up for new businesses. There's more money being given to people to start new business than somebody like me who has an older business. So I just want people to take advantage of the now and take advantage of it wisely. Be wise about it, but go for it. You can write a business plan 50 times, but unless you do it, there's my business plan for the last 8.5 years of business has changed more than anything. So that's always going to change. But you got to do it. You got to go for it. And lastly, I would say is to actually work in the industry, because the industry might not be as sexy as you think it is. A lot of people that used to work for me, whether it be ambassadors, assistants, left real quick because they realized how sexy it was not. So if you can work for somebody virtually, do some tastings or whatever you can, get your foot in the door, and really see what this business really is like. And you might be surprised. It may not be what you think it is, or you may like it better. I know people in the industry who have been successful and they don't drink. And they've done amazing in this because there's so many other sides, right? There's law, there's distribution, there's sales, there's so many. You don't have to be a negotiant like myself, because I didn't make any money at the beginning. So I don't think you could come here to make a lot of money. It was my passion. So there's other sides, and I just wanted people to know that there's so much more to this industry. So take advantage of your opportunities and grants.
Awesome. And if I would say one more thing, I would say just use your resources. Everybody use your resources. You can talk to, I'm sure if people had a time, I know you have busy schedules, but I'm sure you would answer anybody that would come and approach you with a question. I mean, I find that you ladies, the ambassadors that I've actually come to reach out to have been very, very vocal and very supportive of just the community, the community of the drinkers, the community of the educators that are up and coming. And I think that's important, is use your resources, because there's so many beautiful voices out there that are doing some incredible work. And so again, thank you so much, Chrishon, for your time and your support and just everything that you do. And I will continue to hit that share button for your wines. And don't forget, you could drink her wines. Where can you find them at? Where can you find your wines at?
Easy. Just go to lovecorkscrew.com. We ship direct, or also on lovecorkscrew.com, you see the locator under stores. You can find a store nearest to you by typing in your zip code. So by all means, follow Love Corkscrew. I always say, even if you don't buy one wine, not in one bottle, share. You know Love Corkscrew exists, and just share it for me.
Absolutely. That's the way that you can support and celebrate these ambassadors that are out there. They're trailblazing for you. Remember that. They're doing their job. They're rolling up their sleeves, doing the hard work for you. So remember that. Thank you so much, Chrishon, for your time.
Oh, my pleasure.
And I was so excited to be able to share the screen with you. And I know we've been going back and forth through emails and things like that with your busy schedule, but thank you so much. And I wish you all the best, and I will continue to support you in any way I can.
Thank you. Please continue this platform, as it's well needed and well deserved. And thank you. Please keep going. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. But until next time, we got to do this again. Until next time, we got to raise our glasses to you. Yep. On your bottle. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Stay well. Woo! Love it. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Chrishon and I in this awesome conversation that we had. We broke bread together. I shared her wine. You could absolutely delicious. I was sharing her Pinot Grigio and pairing it, believe it or not, with Trader Joe's key lime cookies. Absolutely delicious. Don't forget, what Chrishon said is vital. Remember to hit that share button. If you can, follow these ambassadors, support them, continue to line them up, share them everywhere you can, because that's the best way to get their name out. But until next time, stay safe, everyone. Drink lots, be safe, and cheers.